This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. There's nothing but blue skies coming your way. I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather.
At the dough. At the dough. At the dough. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread.
This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way.
It is Saturday, July 26th, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I'm joined as always by the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande, here on Feo Grande YouTube network. It is Omari Ellis. Absolutely. We're going to talk about it, sprinkle a little information into your casual conversation as we cover three topics to be your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Topic number one, NFL season is back, Omari. We're starting up next week with the first game of the NFL preseason, and we thought that would be a good moment to just kind of talk about some general NFL a little bit. What do you got going on this game?
Well, now that people can hear me because I clicked the button right. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm going to talk about some things coming up. Like next week, we have the first game of the preseason, which I'm pretty sure is the Hall of Fame game. We got the Chargers versus the Lions. But hey, NFL season is coming in here. Now, we got two teams that have been, the Chargers have been on the cusp these past few years. Everybody's talking about Justin Herbert. How much better of a decision he was than Tua Tagovailoa. Well, yes, Tua gets injured, but at the end of the day, they got the same amount of playoff success. But can the Chargers turn it around this year? That's what a lot of people are wondering because they got Coach Harbaugh over there. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, the Lions, the Fighting Lions, clashing, gnashing, biting at kneecaps. Coach Motor City Dan Campbell coming through, trying to motivate this city to finally getting over that hump, that almost 100-year hump of not making it to the Super Bowl. Granted, the Super Bowl's only been around for 50 of those years, but you get my point. They ain't done it. They ain't done nothing. Come on, Lions, do something. I'm rooting for the Lions in this game. I'm rooting for the Lions in this game. Obviously, I got my own team during the regular season, but rooting for the Lions for this game. Gotta root for the underdog. Any thoughts on those two teams? Or
Well, I mean, the Chargers have been irrelevant to me as a casual viewer since Philip Rivers started his decline. Um, but so that's kind of the end of my thoughts on the Chargers, to be honest.
I can agree with that. I only care about them now because of Harbaugh.
Are they in? Yeah, they're in LA now.
Yes, they went to
Okay.
LA when St. Louis did.
Right. And then Detroit, obviously, we were a big Detroit team last season during the season. But my memory is both of us were like, well, yeah, but they're also Detroit and they're not an established playoff team. So they're going to get bounced in the playoffs.
And then the injuries throughout the season.
And yeah, and they were limping across the finish line of the regular season. So let me ask you, are you aware or not, does a lot of that talent that started the year last year on such a good team in the NFC North, does that talent carry over to this season?
I think a good amount of it does. I'm not entirely sure of the nature of Aiden Hutchinson's injury, but apparently he's looking good in training camp. He was there. He was a big factor on that team last year's success, and a big blow to them when I think like week 14 or so he
Right.
goes down.
Okay.
But he's coming back. If he can play anything like he was before, that defense should still be really good. Jared Goff, you know what? He's been playing better and better, as time's gone. The Lions haven't made it to a Super Bowl, but he is a famous Super Bowl, losing quarterback. He has made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then last year, clearly he carried them back. So I kind of like the Goff with a chip on his shoulder, trying to prove that, hey, I'm a number one overall pick for a reason. Yeah, I got wrapped up in a controversy of a team leaving and all that shit, but I can do stuff too. So I think a lot of that talent stays. It's just, did the teams around him also improve? Because two of those teams in the NFC North have stayed relevant for the past years that the other teams haven't. And then the third team is still there shaking their fists spitefully, but they have a bit more historical success than the Lions do. And that's the
Right.
Bears. But
The one year, the one championship.
dude, the NFC North does not have a lot of championships to go around. I think the Packers have 3?
Yeah, they've been a little greedy as far as the other teams.
Yeah, they've got
compare.
3, and the Bears have 1. The Vikings and Lions have 0. It's just the Vikings keep going to the playoffs and threatening each year, staying relevant. But the Packers, obviously, that's their division.
I know you have one more note for us for the NFL. I wanted to ask you something. Stretch your knowledge here a little bit, possibly, but so like you have maybe you have your 2 S tier team. I'm not going to name teams necessarily, but let's say you have like your 2 S tiers and then your 4 to 6 A tier teams.
Gotcha.
And then you got that middle pack where sometimes someone can jump up and surprise you, like a Detroit Lions last year or maybe 2 years ago. Do you see any teams in that realm looking to make a jump? As a super casual NFL, I feel like I've heard things about the Commanders. I feel like I've heard things about Bears improvement. Is any of that reality?
I have heard the same things you have. The Commanders, I think, with last year with their quarterback choice that they made, they started to turn things around really quickly. They were kind of the other story with the Lions last season. So I see that going on. The Bears I think as someone who hopes the Bears do get that success,
I was gonna say tough for you to talk about because you are
It's hard
you
for
are
me to
in
be
Bears
like-
country in Florida.
My friend got a lot of Bear friends, and so I ended up also liking the Bears and rooting for them. But that also opens my eyes a lot more to the flaws in the Bears and the pessimism that comes with being a Bears fan.
Okay.
I do think a lot of that's wishful thinking, but the Bears have always been a team, like I said, like I talked about the historically, like them versus the Lions as far as like success goes. They will get like those defense. The one thing you can always count on the Bears doing is having a decent defense and probably a really good runner to run that ball hard, to play that 100-year-old real football.
Right. Hard
Hard-nosed football. But the Bears quarterback system, like
Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman.
Like literally, if you had anyone else at quarterback that year, like literally almost anyone else
Yeah.
from my memory.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I forget the exact stat, but it's pretty fucking bad when it comes to success with quarterbacks for the Bears. But they're hoping that this Caleb Williams guy is the revolution that he can be. He showed some promise last season, but Fields showed some promise too, and now he's a Jet. And you know what I say about Jets? When you're a Jet all the way. I don't see that team turning anything around anytime soon. Speaking of teams not turning things around at the quarterback thing because they can't make up their minds, the Cleveland Browns got Shedeur Sanders over there, and they're just like, yeah, we're not really going to practice him. We don't really care that much about him. We got him kind of for the publicity. I'm just saying, I'm making up that last part. They didn't say any of that. But apparently he is not getting a lot of reps in practice. They're focusing more
Could
on...
end up getting dropped. Like, is there talks of that potential?
I'm not exactly sure,
I mean,
but he
NFL
did
will
have
cut
the...
a motherfucker
But
so fast.
True, but let's be honest, he is Shedeur Sanders. So I don't know if he
But if you
gets...
don't play him, his publicity doesn't help you. It's only going to end up being a detriment. It's a Tebow situation.
It is, but even Tebow lasted the first season, I guess is what I'm saying.
But even Tebow got playing time.
Well, eventually.
I mean, preseason hasn't even started yet.
Eventually. He's not getting a lot of reps right now. Like, allegedly, there's still going to be a quarterback competition. You know, and it's between him.
Like, is he
Deshaun,
he's suiting up?
Yeah, but he's just not getting a lot.
He's
of,
on the depth chart.
Reps, right?
Okay.
And he's starting to keep his mouth shut because I think he had gotten pulled over. Because another thing that's playing into it may not be skilled. I think he got pulled over for speeding or something along those lines. So it may just kind of be a punishment thing. So people just kind of keeping an eye on that and other news. But I'm looking forward to the NFL season. We'll probably have a lot more to talk about next week as more games like start popping up or will be in the line. Only game going on next week is the Hall of Fame game. So yeah.
All right, well, we'll move on to topic number 2, where it is the MLB trade season. We have the trade deadline coming up in about a week and a half, maybe a week. And we are getting into it. Classically, it really it's a burst right at the end. Really, You might get a few drips. Might get a big, could surprise you with a big trade.
Everybody's waiting for that perfect moment.
Yeah, the market builds till the very last minute when people are desperate. Classically, you can't talk about the trade deadline and who's available and who might be traded without talking about what teams could possibly trade.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be wanting to add and who would be looking to remove. And so let's run through the standings real quick. In the AL East, we have Toronto still on top of the division from the last time we checked. The
Okay.
Yankees are now 5.5 games back. Boston 7.5 games back. You have Baltimore, the surprising young Baltimore, who has been good for several seasons now, in the basement of the AL East at 16.5 games back.
Woo! That's
In
not
the
good.
AL Central, you have Detroit still dominating this division. 7.5 games back is Cleveland, Kansas City at 9, Minnesota at 9, the Chicago White Sox in the basement at 21.5 games back. You have
Jeez.
the AL West. Houston is atop the division. Seattle at 5 games back. Texas at 6 games back. LA at 10 games back. The Athletics at 17 games back. In the NL West, the New York Mets at top of the division. Phillies a half a game back. Miami 10 games back. Atlanta 15. Washington 18.5.
NL East or
NL East.
okay.
NL Central, Milwaukee is atop the division. Chicago Cubs are 1 game back. The Cincinnati Reds are 7.5 games back. The St. Louis Cardinals, 8 games back. Pittsburgh, 19.5 games back.
Okay.
The NL West, the Dodgers are atop the division. The Padres are 6 games back. The Giants are 7 games back. The Diamondbacks are 10 games back. And the Rockies are 33.5 games back from first place in their division. So what does that mean? So if I gave you a number that was 10 or above, absolutely 100% you should be trading anything you have. You should be looking to trade anything that is a rental contract, which means at the end of this season that player's a free agent. So any team would be trading them
Knowing that
trading
they're
for them
going to
knowing that they only have 3 months left. So those are easy trades because this player is already going to be hitting free agency in 3 months. So you might as well trade him and see if you can get anything for him. Those are usually like very low level prospect kind of guys unless that player is incredible.
Yeah.
If the player is incredible, he's sometimes unlikely to be on some of these terrible teams. So it's a mixed bag. Now, the gray area is anybody I listed who is 7 to 10 games back.
Okay.
You're in a gray area where you could maybe convince yourself that anything could happen. Anybody that is 5 games back or smaller needs to be improving their team. They have to be seeking trades to improve their team. Anybody who is on top of the division could get cocky.
Yeah.
Could get cocky and think that they're okay. Will likely still try and trade to improve their team, but they are the team that's going to more likely try and do smart trades, like
Yeah.
multi-person, mid-level players, like a random guy for their bullpen who's going to work the 6th inning in a random playoff game.
Does baseball have 3-team trades like NBA?
Oh yeah, they have you can go up to there's been like 5-team trades.
Jesus Christ.
There's been things that have gotten very complicated. So now that I'm saying that, let's run through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each position and we're going to talk about the person who's most likely to be traded in that spot.
Ooh, okay.
If your team is looking for a catcher, the Braves' Sean Murphy is probably going to be available. He is currently having a 5 WAR season, and he is available through the end of the year. So that's a veteran contract that is likely to improve your team. First base Ryan O'Hearn of the Baltimore Orioles. Again, Baltimore Orioles in the bottom of that division. They need to sell. Second base Luis Arias from the Athletics is probably your best second baseman available. Shortstop Isaiah Kiner Falefa from the Pirates. The Pirates are one of those teams that should be selling all assets. They're expected to one of those fire sale kind of years. Third baseman Eugenio Suarez is probably one of the biggest chips of the draft.
Okay.
There are several teams that are at the top of their division or second place in their division that could improve at third base.
Ooh.
And so he's likely to be the most coveted. The bidding war could end up bringing back the biggest package of the trade season, so that'll be interesting to watch. For left field, I have Jarren Duran from the Red Sox. Red Sox, that's questionable. They're in that slot of it's kind of whether or not they trade or not. It's kind of whether or not they participate in a selling mode, or if they end up trying to buy, or if they end up standing pat. In center field, Cedric Mullins should be traded this offseason from the Baltimore Orioles. They are far too, they need to reset clearly with the season that is going on right now. Right fielder, one of the favorites of our show, Adolis Garcia from the
Yes.
Texas Rangers. That is one where it's if the Texas Rangers want to be visible sellers. Sometimes when you're in that middle pack, you don't want to show your city that you are giving up. You know?
True.
That's also part of the discussion, probably, that these GMs, that these owners, these managers of the teams have, is do we want to
be
flat
giving
out
up.
tell our city that the next 2 months of baseball don't matter?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. DH Marcel Ozuna from the Atlanta Braves. I'm so sorry, Atlanta Braves fans. This is the second Braves person on our list. But you're selling this year. You've been great for 5 years now, maybe more. And it's I think the window is closing. A right-handed starting pitcher. I have Mitch Keller on this list, but there's you could also pick Heaney from the Pittsburgh Pirates as well. And then let's see here, relief pitcher. I have interesting because it's right now it's David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and unfortunately, it's a question if the St. Louis Cardinals decide to sell or not. Because if they decide to sell, our
Wait, we're trying to sell a pitcher? I thought we
Yeah.
needed pitchers. What happened? Why are we selling?
well, our closer is on the last end of is on the last year of their deal. So we could offer up. We could offer that up, and we could offer up Ryan Helsley, and he could probably be the best relief pitcher on the trade market, which means that you would get a pretty sizable return for him, even though he's a rental. That is always, I mean, speaking from a personal standpoint,
Yeah.
if the Cardinals sell,
Yeah.
Ryan Helsley is very attractive deal. We are rich with catchers right now.
Okay.
We have about 4 catchers in our system that qualify as average to plus average catchers. Everybody is always looking for a second catcher for depth at the end of their season. And we have a bunch on multi-year deals that we could potentially trade from a strength. Don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but everyone has been talked about. everyone has been talked about as possible if the Cardinals sell. You're talking about city favorites like Lars Nootbaar. If somebody is interested in Lars Nootbaar, they could trade Lars Nootbaar this season. Nolan Arenado. I told you how coveted third base is this trade market.
Yeah.
If we put Nolan Arenado, even with his high dollar contract, somebody would send us some young players for Nolan Arenado. It's going to be interesting to see Steven Matz from our bullpen, a very reasonable contract for what he has ended up becoming. Has kind of retooled himself to a reliever from a starting pitcher, could be very valuable as one of those smart deal trades that I mentioned of like a Dodgers making or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to add some extension to their bullpen. I could see that happening. So we'll see. Anything could happen at the MLB trade deadline. And we're just now kicking it off.
Cool. Looking forward to that. Well, I hope we get more than we give and we turn it around. 2 months. I've seen us come back from 1 month of being behind. I still got faith. Baseball is the only sport where you will see me be optimistic 90% of the season because, well, Cardinals fan, deal with it. Bottom line, I don't know. Football and my football fandom didn't always pan out with championship success like the baseball one did. So it's a lot harder to be a positive, we'll get them next year fan in other sports than it is for me in baseball. But I got faith in the Cardinals, if no other sports organization. That said, from organizational sports from organizational physical athletic sports to individual electronic ones, gonna be talking about fighting games as we go to our next topic. And you got your World Series in baseball, you got your Super Bowl in football. For fighting games, at least for now and maybe for always, there is EVO Evolution, as represented by the hat that I have. And EVO 2025 is next week, and it's taking place in Vegas. Prime EVO, one of 3 EVO events this year because they're trying to get bigger. But part of that means, hey, if people around the world realize, hey, there's one that's closer to my region next year, and it's still technically called EVO, and people are still treating it as an EVO championship, I'm going to go to that one. So between that and it being 2020 and prices being crazy these days and tariffs and all other kinds of reasons, the numbers and statistics are down for how many people are going. But it's not nearly as drastic as people were making it out to be. Like, it's lesser numbers, but I've seen sharper declines. But Street Fighter still has about 4,000 people in it and still has a lot of the biggest names going in there because at the end of the day, Capcom still has their Pro Tour going where the winner can win $1 million. And now that they have a point system again, to where you can build up points going throughout tournaments, there's more reason for you to go and be like, damn, I got eliminated in the 3rd round, but that's 3rd round points. That's more points than someone who didn't go to this tournament at all. I can still try to get like top 32 in the overall points at the end of the season. So, just traveling helps you get rewarded on the Pro Tour for that. Tekken 8, on the other hand, 2,000 people, down from 4,000 last year, about half the people. Season 2 of Tekken 8 balance patch, not a lot of people were happy about it. However, big story going into it is 2 of the biggest names in Tekken, Knee and the recent god of Tekken, as people are putting him, Arslan Ash out of Pakistan versus Nia Korea. They don't like well, they're fine with each other, I guess, but they're starting to be I'm just being honest, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, they
Right.
don't like each other. But they have been starting to beef a lot more recently over character choices. Nee, who has played Brian since Tekken 5, is being accused of being a tier whore and only winning and having his recent success for Arslan Ash because Brian is so OP this season. To which Nee is like, Arslan, you switch characters every season because you want to play whoever's the best. If Brian's so good, pick him. It's like, well, I'll show you. How about we have an exhibition next year? My character versus your character. To which everyone's like, next year? Patches can happen. Lots of stuff can happen. There's no reason. And he's like, if Brian's so good, you don't need a year to learn the character. You're Arslan Ash. You're 5-time Evo champion Arslan Ash. Play me now. So, Evo's coming up next week. We'll see if either of them I'm hoping that it's the grand finals is between the two of them. But I like stories of dominant players in sports, especially when it comes to individual sports. So, I want to see that, especially with this little beef brewing. But that's going to be crazy. They're definitely two of the names to look out. But Atif, the past couple of tournaments, has been winning. He won CEO, surprising, and people like, so he's like, hey, y'all can keep talking about Arslan and Nee if you want to, but I've been winning the past few other majors leading into this. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves has its first Evo. Saudi Arabia, because they have Saudi Arabia ownership over there at SNK, or at least funding this particular game, they said, hey, Capcom, you want to give out $1 million? We can do that too with our own Pro Tour. So it got a lot of entrance here at this game, you know, at this Evo. Pretty cool story going into that. But yeah, other games have stories going through it, whatever. But MVC 2 is one I wanted to touch on because they're bringing it back. It is a classic. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a classic foundational tournament of Evo. Evo's first 10 years, it was one of the top 2 to 3 games watched or paid attention to. My first Evo I ever watched was in 2010, and it was the last one that MVC2 had. And it was won by the guy who won it 6 other times, Justin Wong. And I saw other players like your Clockworks and the whatnots. Well, they brought it back this year, and MVC2, as long as it's been at Evo, has only been won by 4 people: Duck Doe, Justin Wong, Yipes, and Sanford Kelly. Apparently, Yipes, Sanford Kelly, and Justin, who are acknowledged as the 3 gods of MVC2. I don't know why people don't mention Duck as much, because he won it twice.
And he's the first.
And he's the first guy that won it at Evo.
Yeah.
But they do talk about a legendary set between Duck and Sanford, but I don't hear them talk about Duck as like the god of, you know, there. However, he's the only one of those 4 that entered this year's MVC2 tournament. Justin and Yipes are more commentators now, and I don't know what's up with Sanford Kelly. But Justin's gone to the content creation / commentary retirement deal because he's like, hey, I'm about to be 40 if he's not already 40, and got a wife and kid. Life is life right now. And Yipes is also mainly commentary and stuff because he's making a good amount of money doing that. And it's probably more being honest, it's probably more consistent money than competing. It's like, oh, you'll pay me this much just to come and commentate all weekend? I don't have to practice. It didn't pay for the hotel.
I mean, particularly for
this.
Justin, like doesn't need it anymore. Doesn't need the competition anymore. Like you're that good for that long. Like
yeah, everyone knows who you
probably
are.
gets boring.
Yeah. Even your most, even one of your more prolific losing moments is considered a moment of legend, and so you probably still get money and stuff off of that, or people will be referencing you for all time. Like, you're good. But that should be fun seeing MVC2 because that game is a highly complicated game that I can't play, and just there's just shit happening on the screen. But once you at least have like some knowledge of it, it's like boop, 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 it's just Pure dopamine. Enjoy it. So it's going to be fun. You guys can watch that next weekend. It's from August 1st to August 3rd at the Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas. You can watch it on Twitch, on the Evo channels, EVO. They have like EVOs number 1 through 7 or whatever. But the main Evo channels will have all of those. Top 8s will be mainly on Saturday and Sunday. YouTube has channels of the same title that will also have it where you can be watching. There's ancillary channels and everything. And even PlayStation Esports, because Sony has a stake in Evo these days. PlayStation Esports.
So you can watch it on your PlayStation?
Well, PlayStation Esports YouTube channel will also feature some behind the scenes content.
All right, cool. Excited for that. Evo 2025.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That has been our 3 topics. We sprinkled just a little bit of sports information into your casual conversation. It was a little bit of a maximized episode this week. We sprinkled maybe a lot of bit of information into your casual conversation just to be the guiding lights through that sea of sports talk. If you like hearing us ramble about other things, we have a media show on Tuesdays where we share movies, TV shows, different things back and forth. One guy has seen it, the other one hasn't. It's really fun. It's like a book club, but with visual content. Very fun, very cool thing to do. And then we also have all kinds of other stuff going on this Feo Grande YouTube channel. Stay tuned very soon for that. Where else can they find you on the internet, Omari?
Well, you can also find me on Twitter and twitch.tv at Giotavi. That is GIOTAVI. Come on in. Stop on by. I'm streaming Earth Day 240. You know what that means. Yes, sir. Playing all kinds of stuff. Well, we will see you next week with some more sports talk. Thank you guys so much for watching. Adiosness.